So, a fresh new week has arrived, and here on this channel that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you the viewers to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week, the All-Star break ended, and play resumed with some incredible matchups between some of the top teams in the league, players had some statement performances, and the quest to solidify playoff spots got underway for a few groups, so of course we have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. As the 2023 NBA season continues on, PrizePicks is the best and easiest way to play daily fantasy to stay engaged on all of the excitement. All you have to do is pick between 2 and 6 players and the over or under on their projections, and you can win up to 20 times your original entry. Choose between points, rebounds, assists, 3-pointers made, fantasy points, and more, plus you can even make mixed sports entries, so if you happen to be a fan of football, baseball, soccer, or anything else, PrizePicks has you covered. When you play at PrizePicks, you're also not competing against anyone else, it's simply you versus the projections available. For today's slate of NBA games, I'm looking at playing Donovan Mitchell to score over 25.5 points, Michael Porter Jr. to score over 16.5 points, and Porter Jr. to also make over 2.5 threes. By going down to the link in the description of this video and using promo code reference when you sign up, you also get a deposit match bonus of up to $100. Once again, thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from De La Rosa, and he says that now that the Clippers have Russell Westbrook, they are officially serious contenders as long as they can stay healthy. So the Russell Westbrook saga on the Lakers officially came to an end, and it resulted in Russ not even having to switch cities. He just switched locker rooms as he got bought out by the Jazz and then signed with the Clippers to play with his good friend Paul George. Before the season began, I discussed several times how the Clippers were in need of a floor general point guard who could orchestrate the offense and make the lives of players like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George easier, and when they brought in John Wall, I was admittedly pretty excited about it because in theory, I thought Wall could play that role. Well, things didn't quite work out as planned in that regard, so I have to admit I was wrong about that move because they ended up shipping John Wall out at the trade deadline after he fell out of their rotation completely. So now they're going for round 2 on this point guard carousel by replacing him with Russell Westbrook, and this time I'm much more hesitant to crown the addition as a win for the team that puts them in that top tier. I've learned my lesson. John Wall's pairing with the team didn't work out because he was too inefficient as a scorer and his defense was a detriment to the team. Westbrook, to his credit, is definitely a better player than John Wall right now, and it's not close. However, they do share quite a few similar weaknesses. Russ, like Wall, is not an efficient scorer anymore, shooting just 42% from the field and 29% from 3, and defenses will definitely let him shoot outside of the painted area. Plus, Russ's defense can be a bit aloof. The Clippers need a point guard to take control of the offense and make plays, and Russ has always been able to do that, but he's also someone who makes as many head-scratching plays as jaw-dropping plays, and that whirlwind may not be the reliable factor that fans are hoping for. I will say that I like his fit a lot more on the Clippers than the Lakers, but whether or not he'll actually be able to provide more impact than someone like Reggie Jackson did during their conference finals run a few years ago is still to be determined. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Trevor, and he says that it's time for us all to accept the fact that Anthony Davis just isn't a winning player. Anthony Davis has had a rough stretch these last few years, there's no denying it. His injury luck has been unfortunate as it gets, and he hasn't been able to play more than 40 games in a season since the Lakers' championship-winning year. The Lakers, in that same stretch, have been one of the most underperforming groups, and even Davis's individual production has not been been quite at the level we've seen from him at his peak when he's been on the court, so all of that contributes to take like this coming out. The whole reason why he ended up leaving New Orleans in the first place was that he couldn't get the job done as a number 1 option, and then his first year playing in a number 2 option role, he excelled, playing the best basketball of his career next to LeBron James. The overall take we're reviewing here, I will say, is pretty harsh and also unfair to him completely, because he has literally contributed to winning at the highest level. But when the conversation becomes centered around which superstars can impact winning basketball the most as a go-to guy, that's where Davis's argument diminishes. I think, on top of the fact that he's injury prone, the reason why people get so frustrated with Davis is that he shows you flashes of being a guy capable of dominating at the highest level, but then he'll have games where he plays soft and passive the next night when you know he's capable of so much more. The Lakers need him now more than ever as they begin their quest to escape the basement of the Western Conference standings, and this final stretch of the year is going to tell us a lot about what he's truly made of. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from MSC, and he says that the Kings are legitimate contenders and people need to start putting more respect on their names. The West this season is one of the craziest things I've seen play out in the standings this late in the year. The difference between 3rd place and 13th place in the conference is just 6 games, and 7 teams are within 2 games of each other, so the way things look now could be drastically different by the time the season ends. There are so many teams that have the capability of making a deep run, but very few of them have been able to actually separate themselves at all. The Clippers were one of the most active teams at the trade deadline this year, and with Kawhi Leonard returning to form and Paul George healthy, they're expected to be in the running. The Warriors get Steph Curry back in a few weeks, and as the defending champions, you can never count them out. The Nuggets are sitting above everyone else in the standings with the leading MVP candidate. The Grizzlies are right behind them with their up-tempo style of play, and the Suns just acquired Kevin Durant. Still though, the Kings are in 3rd place in the West and are number 1 ranked offense in the entire league, so they absolutely do deserve more respect. De'Aaron Fox has taken a leap this year and is one of the toughest covers at the point guard position. Domantas Sabonis has been huge inside as both a scorer and a facilitator, and the guys that they have around those two are sharpshooters ready to let it fly on a moment's notice. The issue with the Kings that will likely hold them back compared to other contenders is the fact that they have the worst defense of all of the top-ranked teams, as they currently rank 25th in the league on that end of the floor. When the game slows down in the playoffs, you need to be able to get stops, and every other contender is more reliable doing so than Sacramento, so while they're going to be hard to slow down on offense, they might not be able to get enough stops for it to matter. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.